Welcome to the Church of Thomas, 8/21/09, The Quest for Youth. When I was growing up, one of the favorite stories Mom has that she told about me was that I was constantly yearning to do what I was too small to do, or too young to do, or didn't have enough background or prerequisites or whatever. That stayed with me for a very long time. There were many things that I wanted to do that by the time I was old enough to do them, I didn't want to do them anymore. I think in some ways there was a part of me that really was ready at that younger age, but rules are rules. Sort of like those amusement park rides where you have to come up to that line before you can take the ride. Well, I've noticed a lot of people lately that have been complaining about turning 30, 40, 50. It's been sort of entertaining for me because I finally have decided that I don't need to get old any faster. But I'm enjoying being my age, and each one of these milestones had something fun or interesting or insightful to share with me through my life. And I think that if people can look at their lives not as I have to be younger than so-and-so, or, I'm not as good as I used to be because I've hit this landmark age. That's not really true. Our society has become a lot more focused on youth, but at the same time, our aging process seems to have slowed way down. For instance, I remember pictures of my great-grandparents, and they worked on a farm, 12 hours, 16-hour days, 7 days a week, except for that trip into town to go to church. And at the ripe old age of 28, my great-grandparents looked 60. The wind on the plains etched lines all over their faces. Now, with the quest for youth going on, many people have sought out the idea of medical modifications to keep them from looking any older. I'm happy that I'm finally starting to look a little closer to my age. When I was younger, I had a lot of wisdom to impart, but nobody took me seriously. I think that slowly but surely, I'm growing into my looks. Of course, in my family, we look sort of like kids until suddenly we look old, so at some later date, I will look old. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy looking what I do. But let's get back to the idea of dreading turning 30, 40, 50. Used to be, if you got to be 30 and you didn't have a family all set and a partner with you and, a home that you were living in, then you had failed somewhere along the line. But nowadays, there are so many people that have started families in their mid-30s that there are people that are just hitting 50 that are still having teenagers in the house. I mean, they don't have them gone yet. These are times where the age limits are flexible. There's a trade-off, though. Those people that want to stay young are missing out on a valuable lesson. And that lesson is that there's a lot of other stuff that happens when you get a little older that are good. One of them is you're not quite as impulsive. When you're younger, you don't fear anything, but at the same time, you're willing to do just about anything too. You're more likely to jump off a cliff if somebody dares you. You are more likely to think that you will survive, driving recklessly because you've never had a wreck. You don't have any perspective on the length of your life. By the time you get to be 30 or 40 or 50, you have had enough experiences to know that it's not all cream and strawberries. But you've also mellowed to the point where you can enjoy even the smallest things because you know that that's what your life of good stuff is built on, is those small, precious moments instead of some grand gesture that's a lifelong sort of thing. I really pity the child prodigies that basically hit their mark, their peak, their ultimate achievement at a very young age. Because for them, unless they find new challenges, new things that they can do in other directions, they may never surpass what they did. Slow but steady seems to be the best way of doing it. And I'm a good example of slow but steady. Never been a jackrabbit. But by being slow but steady, you learn from your mistakes, and then you adapt your life to understanding the lessons that you learned. If you can put those lessons to good use, then you're maturing. And that's something that young people do not have. They have a great deal of energy, but they don't have any insight. They have a lot of fearlessness, but they don't know when to risk their life. Young people have a blank slate, so to speak, in being able to look at new problems with brand new eyes. That's one of the downsides of being a little older, is that a lot of us have a tendency of looking at the problem through the lens of the things we've already gone through, even if the problem may not be exactly the same. And sometimes it works, but other times it's very difficult to adapt to the new problem because we're seeing it through blinders. We don't see the stuff that's outside. The young people, all they see is the broad vista. So that's one of the advantages of being young. But I think that we should never, either group, envy the other group, because we each have our roles. We each have our strengths and weaknesses. And I'm grateful for still being here at all. I'm a cancer survivor, and as such, every day is a gift for me. When I hit 50, most people would crawl into a hole and go look for Botox. I went, hallelujah, I made it to half a century. I think that because of the near-death experiences and brushes with death that I have had throughout my life, I probably value my life a little bit more than some people do. I know that it can be lost. I know that there needs to be purpose in it. And I'm glad to say that in many areas of my life, I have gotten my ducks in a row. So if you are getting a little older, remember there are trade-offs. Try not to see it as negative. See it as an adventure, something new to explore. And you will have good in every age that you experience. Just hold on to that thought, and you're going to have fun at no matter what age you are. God bless the whole world, no exceptions. Angel of Light.